Good afternoon, grade 12, the class of 2024. I know you must be anxious about the paper that is coming next week, that is on the 12th. Here I'm just going to be looking at paper 1, the very first topic, which is the circular flow. You will remember that this topic started in grade 10, grade 11, and now we are in grade 12. Now I just want to guide you on how to go about handling it, giving you some tips on the circular flow. Now I'm going to start with section A. Now there are things that learners should know when it comes to the circular flow. Now in section A, the learners should, number one, know the difference between two types of the economy. That is, there is open economy, there is closed economy. Now you must be able to differentiate between those. I normally say it's just like a door that as a country we have to other countries. Now if we've got an open economy, it's like the South African door is open for imports and exports. If you've got a closed economy, it means the country is not trading with other countries where we have exports and imports. So please make sure that you know that difference between the closed and the open economy. Secondly, you need to master, your leakages and your injections. I'm happy Mem Nyambolo has, discussed that and tried to dig deeper when it comes to injections and the leakages. Now there are tips that I want you, maybe they may help you in remembering, your injections and your leakages. I normally say to learners, in school, we have a principal working with a team, and that team is called School Management Team. Now that SMT will represent now your leakages. Your leakages, S stands for savings, plus M for your imports, plus T for your taxes. So in order for you to remember, just think about your school management team in school. And then your S, your M, your T will remind you about, the examples of the leakages. And also, in order for you to remember your injections, I used to use, an abbreviation or an acronym, which is GIX, GIX. Now the GIX now, G stands for government expenditure, I for investment spending by businesses, and X for exports income. So if you've got your SMT as your leakages, you've got your GIX as your injections, you will easily remember now your leakages and your injections, as they are important in paper 1, especially in section A. And also, you must be able to differentiate between different sectors. When we talk of a 2-sector economy, when we talk of a 3-sector economy, when we talk of a 4-sector economy, what do we mean? Remember, please, that now, when we talk about your 2-sector economy, it's your economy where you've got your households and your businesses. But when we talk about the 3-sector economy, it's your economy, there are households, there are businesses, and there's government. But when you talk of now the 4-sector economy, it's where you've got almost all the participants. That includes also the foreign sector. Now, that will be regarded as your 4-sector economy. Please make sure that you are able, to differentiate between those. Now, also, please master your concepts. Master your concepts. Now, I always, recommend, the Mind the Gap, because in Mind the Gap that you use as your study guide, you find out that before, any topic, you will be given the concepts that you will, come across in that particular topic. So just memorize the concepts in every topic. Make yourself, some notes wherever you move around. You've got the notes that reminds you of each, of the concepts that you will find in each topic. Now, when you attempt section A, learners, please don't leave out blank spaces. Even if you are not so sure, don't leave blank spaces. Make sure that you write something there. It's just like, instead of writing A or B, you write them both. That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. Please don't give two answers instead of one answer. Now, when we go to section, before we go to section B, I just want to give you some examples that you might come across in your paper on the 12th. For example, on the slide here, 1.1.1, an open economy is best described as this sector in the economy. Remember, I said you must master different sectors in the economy. Now, an open economy, it will be a four-sector economy. Why? Because it includes the fourth, participant, which is the foreign sector. Also, you might come across a question talking about, in fact, it's guaranteed that there will be a question talking about your injections and your leakages. Here, the question is, investment is an example of A or N dash in the circular flow model. Now, when you talk of an investment, it will be definitely your injection. Now, B will be your answer this time. Now, these are kind of questions that you are going to come across, or you might come across on Tuesday. Again, now, when we talk of your injections and your leakages, there are formulas there. You might get a question like this one that you see. Now, here it is, asked in a different way, where they have given you, the formulas instead of giving you the terms, that is the injection or your leakages. Now, in 1.1.2, it says national income will increase when? Now, if you don't know the formulas, you will be lost. Which formula we use for injections? Which formula we use for leakages? Now, your G plus I plus X will be your what now? Will be your injections. Now, we always have J for injections. And your S plus T plus M will be your what? Will be your leakages. Now, it says here in actual fact, if your injections are greater than your leakages, what happens to the national income? You must be able now to give an answer. Now, if the national income increases, then that means now your injections are greater than what? Than your leakages. Now, if we were to talk about B, for example, alternative B. In alternative B, they say there, now if your injections, that is J, are less than your leakages. Now, why do I say that? It is because I look at the what? I look at the formulas that are given there. So please make sure that you master these formulas. That now your J is your leakage, is your what? Is your injections. It is your government expenditure plus your what? Plus your investment expenditure plus your what? Plus your export income. Those are your what? Those are your injections. As well as your leakages, which will be what? It will be your SMT. I said you must remember it like that in order for you not to miss the marks. It doesn't matter whether you say it's S plus M plus T, for as long as you have all of them. So those are your leakages and your injections. Make sure you go to the paper on Tuesday mastering this. Now we come to another example. Savings flow back into the circular flow as one of the following. You are given different examples there. Now that we talked about our injections, we talked about our leakages. Now, if we talk about our leakages, you've got your what? You've got your savings. How does it flow back to the local economy? Now, your savings will flow back to the local economy in the form of what? Of the investments. Why? Because the money that we save into the financial sector is kept there. And when the businesses are looking for money, they will go there and borrow some money in order to, invest in their businesses. Again, you've got your what? You've got your imports there. How does that money flow back into the circular flow or into the local economy? It will flow back in the form of what? Of exports. And again, you've got your what? You've got your taxes. Now, when you talk of taxes, why it doesn't write now? Now, your taxes will flow back in the form of what? In the form of government expenditure. So when we talk about the flow back of the leakages, this is exactly what we talk about. So you must be able to link this so that you are not confused. Savings, they flow back in the form of investment. Imports, they flow back in the form of exports. And your taxes, they flow back in the form of what? Of government expenditure. So these are the type of questions that you must expect. They don't ask them straightforward. They want to see if you really understand what these leakages and these injections are all about. Now, let me come to section B. Maybe before I come to section B again, let me just make a mention of the column that will say match column A with column B. Now, when you match column A with column B, what you have to do there, it is always advisable to go through the information that is given in column A. The concepts that are in column A, read the statements that are in column B, so that you are familiar with what you have in your table. And then it will be easy for you now to match them. Now, what you do in match column A with column B, that is now, I'm talking about your 1.2. Start with the one that is so obvious, that you know best. Start with it. Allocate it. If, for example, you identify that, okay, the statement that is in E matches what is in 1.1, 1.2.4, immediately just write E there and scratch E on your statements. And then you identify that, okay, 1, and then 1.2.5 0.5 now matches with a letter B. Just write it there and scratch it on your column B, so that you know that this one I have dealt with already. Now, as you do that, you find out that even those that you are not sure of, you will easily get them into place. So this is how you must handle your 1.2 in section A. In 1.3, I have already mentioned the fact that before you study any topic or any chapter, try to master the concepts. The concepts will always be there. My colleague here has already explained how important it is for you to go to that paper on Tuesday, mastering all the concepts in paper 1. Now let me come to section B. Now in section B now, your first question there, 2.1.1, it will be saying name any two. Yeah, now you need, again, the concepts, or you need to recall what is in the book. For example, here I've got an example of questions, especially in this topic that we are dealing with here, which is our first topic, which is a circular flow. Name any two participants in a closed economy. Remember, I said you must master the difference between the open and the closed economy. Now here, you are asked to come with the participants only in the closed economy. There they are, your household, your business, and your state. Name any two examples of real flows within the 4-sector model. You see, it also talks about these models, the 4-sector, the 2-sector model. Now, when it talks about this, remember, in the circular flow, we've got the real flow, we've got the money flow. Here, you are asked to come up with the examples. Now, only in the real flow, there you see, you've got your goods and services, you've got your imports of goods and services, you've got your exports of goods and services, factors of production, public goods and services. They represent your real flow. Remember, in real flow, you've got the flow of goods and services between the participants. We've got the flow of factors of production between the economic participants, your households, and your what? And your businesses. Make sure that you understand that. Now, in this, first question, it will be an easy question. These are easy marks. You are asked now to name any two. Any two, they might be 6, but you mention 2. It doesn't help to mention more than what is required. Just give the number that is required. The last question they will be saying, name any 2 factors that determine the size of the multiplier in a 2-sector model. Underline again, in a 2-sector model. Now here it will be your marginal propensity to consume, that is your MPC, your marginal propensity to save, that is your MPS. Now that's what determines. So your first question will be an easy question. You will be asked to name there. Now the second question, now it demands a little bit more of your understanding of this topic. Now it will be having a why or what question. Now here learners are supposed to write in full sentences. You must write in full sentences. For example, the question that we have here as an example, why are injections important in South African economy? Now you have got to give a reason why now. Now you can't just give one word when you answer a question like this one, when it says why. You need to support why injections are important in the South African economy. For example, they say they add more money in the circular flow, which will increase the quantity of money in the economy. That's the reason why they are important. Without them, now the economy won't really grow. There will be shortage of money in the circular flow. Injections are an addition into the economy, which results in an increase in the GDP. That's the reason. You come up with the reason. That's why we always ask for a full sentence here. Now, that one sentence will award you or will earn you 2 marks. The second question may be, what is the importance of the factor market in the circular flow? Now you've got to come with what is the importance, why is the factor market important in the circular flow? Now, this is the kind of question. Now you can see that now, as you go deeper in section B, the questions, they demand more of your understanding. Now there's also, now question 2.2. Now in your 2.2, you are faced with what we call a data response questions, where you will be given, something to refer to. It's there to guide you. My colleague has also, explained why there is that data. It's just there to guide you on what the questions will be about. For example, a learner here has got to read the data, look at the data, analyze the data, not once. Make sure that you've got some understanding of what the data is all about. It might be a cartoon. It might be an extract. If it's an extract, read it. If it's a cartoon, try to understand how does that cartoon relate to the economy. Now it gives you a clue. Now there will be also headings there. There will be also headings. Now those headings, they actually give you an idea of what the questions will be about. Also, I'm going to show you now when we look at the different examples or different data response questions that we normally see when we deal with paper 1. Underline the important parts in the data. Now, as you read, you've got your lead pencil. You feel that this one is important. Please underline it so that it gives you a reminder that this is what is important. For example, here, the question says, study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. Here is a diagram. We are dealing with topic 1, which is the circular flow. Now you are given a diagram. Now a diagram will not be exactly as the one that you have in your book, but it will require your understanding. As you see this one. Now if I were to ask you, which sector is this one? Is it a 2-sector, 3-sector, 4-sector economy? As a learner, you must be able to tell me that this one, because we've got consumers here as households, we've got firms here. Now, this one definitely is a what? It is a 2-sector economy. Now, the questions, they will be based on the diagram. Remember, there's a topic there, circular flow and the multiplier. Then it brings your mind that, okay, we are in topic 1. Now, the first question will be saying, identify the value of the marginal propensity to save in the diagram above. Now, it means now you've got to look at the diagram and get what is required. Now, in most cases, your first question here will be identifying, you get something from the data, as you see here. Now, you are asked here to give the marginal propensity to save. Now, as you have learned, as you were taught in class, you are able to tell that, okay, when we talk about the marginal propensity to save now, it's what the consumers will be saving. For example, there is your marginal propensity to save. So these are such questions. Name the leakage that relates to the foreign sector. Now, the foreign sector, it deals with the exports and the what? And the imports. Now, we have already mentioned that the imports represent your what? Your leakage now. Briefly describe the term autonomous consumption. Now, autonomous consumption, you must be able to tell what autonomous consumption is. That consumption that is not dependent on your income. Whereas now, you might also be asked that define or briefly describe induced consumption. Now, induced consumption is that kind of consumption that is dependent on your what now? On your income. Explain the importance of savings in the economy. These are the questions that you might see. There will be a calculation. You must go to that paper ready with the calculation, where you will be asked to calculate the value of the multiplier. Now, if you look at this question now, which has got more marks, which is 4 marks, use the marginal propensity to consume, that is the MPC in the diagram above, to determine the value of the multiplier. Show the formulas. My good learners, now it's time for you to focus more on what you know best. Make sure that you get more question papers on section A. The more question papers you do on section A, the better for you. And when you practice essays, make sure you write, and you write. It's good to have discussions with your groups so that what you know, you can share it with someone and get some more points. It is important for you to give you more time, rest when you feel like you are tired, so that you can wake up again, revived and fresh. Otherwise, with the little that I shared with you, I believe it can take you somewhere. Whenever you move around, you've got your little notes with you so that you waste no time. I wish you all the best as you will be writing on Tuesday. I know in you, you've got what it takes. Our hope is in you. All the best. Good luck.